We will see the new episode of TADC in 2 weeks on October 4th, and it was officially announced by Glitch.
Coming soon on an all-new episode of the amazing digital circus. Our friends find themselves in the decrepit manor of...
In addition to that, we were shown the announcement of episode 3, in which I noticed some interesting details. From the announcement, we learned that Zooble still didn't want to go on a new adventure.
Except me. I'm not going on a stupid haunted house adventure.
And we also got official confirmation that Pomni and Kinger will act together in the new episode.
Ooh, look! I team up with Pomni in this adventure. That should be fun.
I also like the style in which the announcement was made, and it already conveys the whole atmosphere of the episode, and the lost eye of Kinger is the cherry on the cake of the madness that will be going on in 2 weeks. But there's plenty of other terrifying stuff in there besides that. And also I noticed reference of some leaks, like Kinger's shotgun or human hand. Write in the comments what reference I didn't mention. I'm curious if you noticed it. However, apart from the announcement, we've gotten enough leaks lately that will reveal the secret of the new episode even more. You make your way up the steps of a mysterious mansion. Glitch have shown us another new teaser which finally confirmed that the new episode will take place in a mysterious mansion. In the new leak, we see Pomni looking cautiously at the doors of the mansion. And just like in one of the previous leaks, Pomni has a lantern in her hand which helps her not to go crazy in this creepy place. And even though we see a similar scene in the previous leak, it refers us to a very different room of the mansion, which I'll tell you about today. I found it strange why Pomni is standing alone in this teaser, and in the other one together with Kinger. I think that as in all previous adventures, they will split into 2 groups, and just Pomni and Kinger will be in the same group. And since Goose has already revealed that the new episode will not only be about Zooble, but also about Kinger, we will have 2 completely different stories in one episode, and I have a guess that Zooble's group may stay in the digital circus territory, as it was on this leak. But more likely, this is just another quarrel between Kane and Zooble over not participating in the adventure. Back to the Pomni and Kinger pairing. As I said, Pomni is standing alone near the entrance, which means that the others are already inside, and this strange leak with the lantern confirms it. At first glance, it may seem that there is nothing particularly interesting in this leak, until we change some settings and notice 2 eyes that are hiding behind the lantern. If you look closely, it's easy to see that it's Kinger, and most likely Pomni was in some room where the Chess King was hiding. I also visited the slightly weird site Wacky Watch, where Glitch publishes weird leaks like Pomni sleeping, or the last seconds of Gummy Goo, and this time we saw 2 characters looking for something in total darkness, and even the smallest digital circus fan would guess it's Kinger and Pomni. Most likely the original sequence was as follows. Pomni entered the mansion, then found the secret room, and after switching on the lantern, saw Kinger, with whom she continued her adventure. Think back to February 2024, when we were shown a preview of the first season of the amazing digital circus, because there are 4 more leaks of episode 3 waiting for us. If the photo of Martha Mildenhall just introduces us to the character and most likely her room, and the leaked tape recorder shows us the main villain of the episode, the photo of the pet hides one interesting detail. Behind him, there are 3 doors that lead to new rooms, and most likely this location is the first thing that Pomni will see after entering the mysterious mansion, as evidenced by the fact that above the seal, we see a source of light somewhere on the ceiling, and the trajectory of the rays will coincide with what we see on this leak. But most of all, we are interested in the rightmost door, which is slightly ajar, and judging by the darkness we see, this is the room where Pomni will enter and meet Kinger. In the same video, we were shown another fragment in which we were shown Kinger with a shotgun in his hands, some huge door, and something that caused Kinger's aggression. There have been many theories and mysteries about it. Some seriously thought it was Pomni. I speculated that it was the tape recorder, which is the main villain, and so Kinger just destroys it. But if you look closely, it's obvious that this object is quite large. And just recently we were told the truth about what it is. Let's remember one of the leaks that is really scary. Pomni and Kinger are in some room, and I'm sure it's no longer the same dark room. They see something really creepy. There's a huge, disgusting human hand reaching out to them that's ready to kill them at that very moment. And as we remember from the second episode, you can always find a gun somewhere, as it was with Jax and Shotgun. In episode 3, Goose decided to add Shotgun again, but its happy owner was Kinger. Perhaps he shot off one of Fingers so he could save the lives of 2 characters. But do not immediately cancel the other versions, because it is quite possible that it is Tape Recorder or a new unnamed villain. Gooseworx also showed a post on Tumblr in which she said that the new episode will still be her favorite, but it won't be as dark as most fans think. As I said before, Zooble has never participated in an adventure, and the 3rd episode will be the first episode where Kane will be able to convince or force Zooble to participate in a new adventure, and this argument or quarrel will be the key point after which Zooble will agree. Well, since we have very few leaks about Zooble and her involvement in episode 3, I'll offer you one theory about what will happen, and hope for your feedback in the comments. But why is Zooble so insistent on abandoning adventures? Most likely something terrible happened to Zooble in one of the adventures before Pomni showed up, and the situation with Gloinks is just a child's prank compared to her past experiences. It's also important to remember about the interaction between Jax and Zooble. The rabbit tries in various ways to make jokes about Zooble, but she's the only one who doesn't give him any opportunity to do so. And if the second episode was much more interesting than many of us thought, Gooseworx said that the third episode will be much better. And it is her favorite episode. And here we remember how Goose said that Zooble is her favorite character. Gooseworx also told us about this, and added that we should expect much more about this character in the next episodes. And this is good, because Zooble is the weirdest character of all. And if we understand that Kinger is a strange man who suffers from paranoia, Gangle is a whiny girl who can't stand up for herself, Ragatha is an insecure but at the same time very kind girl, Jax is a bully who enjoys any kind of violence in the circus, and Pomni is the only one who has compassion for absolutely all participants of the adventure. But who is Zooble is still a mystery, although many people know that Zooble is a reference on the Zolo constructor, but still they do not fully understand the complexity of this idea. Zooble, as well as a strange constructor, consists of parts that are not connected to each other, and because of this, she still does not fully understand who she is and who she wants to be. At the moment, the inner conflict, which is expressed in the constant search for the perfect image, does not allow Zooble to identify herself in any way. And also in the musical adventure, we were shown Zooble's room, which finally revealed what her chest of details looks like. But the greatest value is the room itself, and if you look closely, we see a huge amount of colors and details that seem to fit together, but at the same time, absolutely do not fit together, which is clearly seen in comparison with the rooms of other characters. Let's talk about what might actually happen to Zooble in the new episode and in the following episodes, and where it all leads Zooble. What if Zooble is on the verge of death in the new episode, and maybe she'll give up on adventure again, and what the consequences could be? This, and much more, we will discuss further in this video. Keep in mind that the third episode will not be for children at all, which means that we will see something horrible, disgusting, or scary very soon. Zooble will probably refuse to participate in the adventure as before, which will make Kane angry, and he will decide to force Zooble to participate in the new adventure. And considering the fact that Zooble always limps on one leg, and the adventures outside the digital circus tent are opened thanks to the portal, Kane can just pick the moment when these phenomena coincide, and thus Zooble will get into a new location because of his deficiency. And this will be the first scene of the beginning of the reveal of Zooble's identity. And the whole episode will be about finding the real Zooble and identifying herself as a person and what that will lead to. And based on that, we're going to divide the video into 2 chapters: character and implications. We are all used to seeing Zooble as a neutral character who is known for his rudeness, and the most pronounced confirmation of this was the fragment where Zooble directly told Kinger that she was sure that he was the one who should have turned into an abstracted monster next instead of Kaufmo. And that's assuming Kinger was the one who saved her. And no one even thinks about the fact that Zooble might actually be a very vulnerable girl who desperately hides it and is afraid to show everyone her weakness. And all her arrogance and actions are just a lame way of hiding it. For all her faults, she continues to maintain good relations with the others. And even Pomni, who is currently the most uncomfortable in the digital circus, feels her support. And episode 3 may gradually reveal this line. We will understand more and more of Zooble's true meaning with each passing minute. We can draw a parallel with Gummigoo, who was initially presented to us as a villain, but the longer we watch the second episode, the more sympathy we felt for this character, and I have a hunch that Gooseworx left us a little clue in the last episode. Let's remember again how desperate he was to get Zooble to take part in the new adventure, and lured her in every possible way. And as I said before, Gummigoo was probably meant for Zooble, and by drawing a parallel between these characters, we realize that they are very similar. They both don't fully understand who they are, and that's why the third episode should make us fall in love with Zooble. Gooseworx has already told us that her favorite Zooble image will be in episode 4, and also from episode 3 to 9, we will see a lot more scenes with Zooble, and therefore we will not see a full-fledged transformation into an abstracted monster for this character. But we should not forget that Gooseworx said that such process as abstraction will also be dedicated to the episode, and we will learn how this process takes place. And based on what we've learned so far, there's a good chance that Zooble could be the one to undergo this phenomenon, and a good chance that it will happen in the third episode amidst everything that's going on with her. Or alternatively, Zooble will have the courage to become one of the leaders of the digital circus and will be able to lead everyone else. So we can think that in the third episode, we can see Zooble getting closer to the others in order to get into the circle of trust. And in the second episode, we see that at least with Pomni, it is already working. And then gradually we will see more and more of Zooble's true character and true goals in the digital circus.